Hi guys, today we're here with Paul Freary from Shoeguide.rum. He has a YouTube account, obviously called Shoeguide.rum, where he sort of covers everything related to running shoes, and he also has the Instagram handle at the Running Shoe Guru. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for kind of getting together on this video, Alfie. You wanted to talk about some super shoes today. So I've got a whole load of shoes here. Where do you want to start?
Well, I think to get it out of the way, obviously first and foremost, probably have to start with the most popular one, which is obviously any shoe what Nike comes out with. So I guess we should start from there, really. If that's all right with you?
Yeah. Okay, so recent one, the Tempo, the Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent. So this was, many people said it was a takedown of the Tempo, the training version. I think the biggest misconceptions really arose from the fact that people thought it was purely a training shoe. Personally, the clue is in the name. It's a tempo shoe, and it's in my eyes, it's purely designed for tempo running. So you're only going to wear it maybe once or twice a week, depending on your event. It is a little bit heavier than the Alpha Fly. It has got a nylon or a carbon infused plate in there, but if anything, it feels a little bit stiffer, really, than Alpha Fly and Next Percent. And with the Zoom AirPods in there as well, I think it really does help if you roll through from heel to toe in this shoe, because a lot of people weren't keen on it after their initial runs, and were posting and sharing on YouTube. And what you'd notice is that they were very much mid to forefoot running. And I guess if you've got a camera in your hand and you're more concentrating on doing your Instagram photos and what have you, you're kind of trotting along and tiptoeing along a bit on your forefoot. Whereas if you're going out doing a tempo run, you will be rolling through a little bit. And I found that at that pace, both on the road and on some treadmill sessions that I did, it rolled through very smoothly. It's got a combination of the React foam in the heel and the Zoom X. So this section here, just the bottom half of the rear foot, if you like, is the Nike React foam.
Yep.
That's quite dense and quite firm. And I think that actually works well in that it doesn't bottom out too much, and it keeps the shoe quite stable. It's very stable anyway because the nylon plate runs the full width of it, particularly in the midfoot, so it does keep it stable. But when you roll through, and you go in at quite a, clipping along a little bit, it does feel smooth and it does flick off a little bit. Now, some of the roll off onto the toe comes from the plate, which it follows the coloured line, if you like, all the way through. And then you've got a little bit of, I hate using the word spring, but you've got the AirPods in there as well. What you've got though, the Zoom X in this section, in the front of the AirPods, is, if you can see, really, really soft. So I think what happens is you get to this point, and as you roll onto there, that squashes really quick. I mean, I'm squashing it with my finger and thumb there, and it goes to nothing, almost. So you get to there, and you flick off because the shoe actually squashes and gets a real toe off, So it gives an exaggerated feeling of toe off. So it's not something you want to be running in every day for everyday mileage. It's not for slow, easy runs. It is for me, tempo pace would be, say, what I would call maybe half marathon pace.
Yep.
I race all distances from 5K up to marathon, but I would say tempo is something that you're going to sustain for 6 miles to 10 miles, something like that. So half marathon pace, it's not flat out, it's not racing, but it's not hanging about either. But at that pace, works very well. So I kind of like it, but it's a specific shoe. So we're now getting into the realms of shoes that will do, you could be running in a different shoe every single day. If you had if you had the thousands of pounds that it's going to cost for this little lineup, you know. So yeah, nice shoe, very specific, I think. And if you wear it for what it's designed for, as the name says, then you've got to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think obviously the fact that it's banned from racing as well, not that you would want to race it over any other shoe in that price range because they're obviously a bit lighter and more tuned to racing, it does really limit sort of the things you can do with it. But I guess for the things you can do with it, it's probably the best on the market for that sort of tempo kind of shoe, would you say?
Well,
Or
saying that, well, why do you say it's banned? The stack height isn't, I think it's officially 38 millimeters.
oh, is it? Okay.
It
Never
wouldn't be
mind then.
banned. But then again, so none of these shoes are banned. None of them are over 40 mil.
Okay.
You know? Now, it's a funny one because when you look at the Alpha Fly, I think these are mine. These are it's a real contentious, complicated issue. But World Athletics, the ruling is they measure the stack height, so the thickness of the shoe from the outsole to the top of the insole. Okay, I don't know how much they compress that because obviously there's a little bit of give and it's soft and squidgy.
Yep.
But from the overall length of the shoe, I think they measure it 12% of the overall length in, and it's in the center, so it's there. And if you look at something like the Alpha Fly, it's kind of you can see how it's concave, so that chops a couple of mil off it as well. Now your foot does sit into it, but I would say my foot is sat about 3 millimeters down from where I've got my thumb inside there. And I measured this, and the overall height of mine this is a UK 10 is about 53 millimeters. Now the World Athletics ruling is under 40 mil. But of course, that ruling is based on a US size 8, I believe, which would be a UK 7, so quite a small shoe. So the proportions of the shoe will increase, proportionately. There's also another thing on that, what shoes are banned and what aren't banned. If you look to the initial World Athletics ruling, it states that these rules apply to elite competition.
Yep.
Now, that's quite an arbitrary statement as to what is elite and what isn't. I'm pretty sure, an open meeting in Manchester on a Tuesday night isn't necessarily an elite competition, regardless of how quick you're running, by comparison to something like the Golden League or the Diamond League in Oslo, a vast difference. So what is elite competition? When the rules were updated that essentially banned the new carbon-plated shoes for use on the track, and introduced a 25 millimeter limit, which would effectively chuck out your 40 mil Alpha Fly from the track. The wording in the World Athletics statement says these are the rules for international competition. So I'm guessing that is, your Diamond Leagues, your Commonwealth, European, Olympic, World Championships, world record purposes, national record purposes, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So there's nothing to say that I cannot wear these in the Masters 5K, in Manchester or whatever. So, and if, I was talking about this with a lot of people, and a friend of mine, we decided that if I went to a 3K open meeting race with you right now, and I turned up with these, you're not going to be wearing these because you ran, and anybody that's quick enough is wearing spikes. So no matter how much advantage they're going to give a 50-year-old bloke, they're not going to, if I'm fast enough, I'd be wearing spikes every day of the week.
Yeah.
So it's international competition. That's what the World Athletics ruling is for.
Yeah. I think as well on the track,
nothing to worry about, to be honest.
On the track, you've obviously got one of those spikes, which is the Dragonfly, which doesn't have a carbon fiber plating, and it's really quite I think it's like a 18 to 20 mil stack with the Zoom X foam. No
Yeah.
carbon fiber plate, and it seems on the track that spike seems a lot better for me than the Vaporfly. So I would say that
Yeah.
that sort of made the rule sort of redundant in the sense that the spikes are actually probably better than the flats now. But I'm guessing it's for future reference of any shoe that comes out can't have a certain stack height.
Yeah, I think it is particularly for spikes, because when, you know, I don't think when was the last time you saw people, I'm sure people will type in the comments once they watch it, but there's not been that many instances in Diamond League when people have been running even a 10k in racing flats, or, you know, alpha flights, next percent, whatever. I know
Yeah.
the guy got his European 1 hour record chucked out, didn't he, a few weeks ago, and that was just as the new ruling came in. But that's for record purposes, and, you know, it is what it is. So for the vast majority of viewers, put your, you know, if you want to wear the spike, if you want to wear the shoes, great, but I would hope most of you will be wearing spikes if you're a regular track runner.
Yeah. And if you're not an elite road runner, feel free to wear any shoe at all what's got a stack height of upwards of 80 millimeters if you really want to. Because obviously within the rolling, it's not banned. So if you're doing a park run, just stick some springs on and you'll be fine, good to go.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't think it'll wipe out a whole industry. Hawker will pretty much have the whole line will be gone, won't it? I mean, in fact, I don't know if they have many shoes over 40 millimeters, to be honest. But they'd be the officials would be busy measuring a lot of hawkers at some of these ultra races.
Yeah, I was gonna say, imagine on like a busy park run as well, like 500 people lined up, all in like shoes, what, like next percent, so like Hokers or any shoe, any super shoe, and everyone's just there, just like measuring them like millimeter, like 500 people through to a park run.
I think everybody got carried away with these rulings, and it's actually the first line in the rules for international competition. These rules apply. See below.
Yeah.
Boom. So the vast majority of people only needed to read point 1.
So
And it's there. It's there on World Athletics website.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I guess it's easy to find if anyone is interested on reading that subject on the World Athletics website.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, just make sure you do your research for yourself to find if the shoes are suitable for your race, whether that's on track or road. If it's all right with you, Paul, I'd quite like to move on to a New Balance shoe, if that's okay, because it's probably the one that's been receiving the most hype at the minute, which is, you're probably going to be able to name it better than me. Is it the Fuel RC Racer? FUELCELL?
FUELCELL RC Elite.
Okay.
So the TC a few months ago, which was the TC being trainer competition, and this is the RC racer competition and the elite version as well. Very similar to that model. I think it's about 50 grams or maybe a little bit more lighter. It does feel, it's not the lightest shoe in the world, but it is a light shoe. You know, there are others about, but what you've got is a deep stack of the fresh foam cushioning. The upper compared to the TC is pretty much a single layer mesh, very thin, very breathable. You don't really have issues, really, do you? Have you ever had issues when you come back from a run and you said, "Oh, my shoes weren't been too breathable today"? But people like to talk about that. So we've got a very light, open mesh, breathable upper, one piece, seamless as well, really nice. New Balance, a lot of their shoes this year put this nice little kind of outward curve on the heel tab, so no irritation on the Achilles. That's a nice touch. Fits really nice heel collar around there as well. Very thin single layer. You can't make it out there because it's black on black, but single layer tongue, very lightly padded down the center where you fasten the laces. Yeah, you've got the carbon plate in there. Very soft, this fresh foam. And we have got this, we've seen this on loads of shoes from different brands. I think the most familiar one is on like a lot of ASICS racing shoes, in particular the ASICS DS Racer for many years used something similar. It's a very thin kind of sheet with these little black sole pieces, studs kind of printed on there. You got a couple of mil of traction on there as well. I really like this kind of sole myself, particularly on racing shoes. Liked it. Always kept a pair of DS trainers for races, particularly when it was a bit wet. Lots of traction, and particularly on road races when in winter when the road can be a little bit slippy and there's moss
Yeah.
and things on the footpath. Great traction there. Doesn't add anything weight wise. Looks like there's a lot of sole going on. You could probably get away with less if you knew, you know, if you're having shoes custom made or something for the real fast marathon boys. But yeah, it's not going to add anything detrimental. What I do like is plenty of rubber on the heel as well. Nike, I mean, look at that patch there. That's just totally worn away. Why did they stop that piece? Why did they not make it there? I mean, did they know that that's where I was going to wear it away? It's almost like took a chunk out of my shoes there on that one.
It's almost as if they want people to buy their shoes within a short period of time.
Yeah,
it's almost as if they want people to rely on them and then buy them again.
With wears like that, yeah. So no issues with that. Very narrow kind of footprint on this one. So be aware of that. I think you do really need to be quite neutral. It is a racing shoe, so you're going to be landing more mid to forefoot, but you get a nice roll through as well. Very soft, real soft, but the carbon kind of then, the reverse of that gives it that, you know, springy toe off, you know. Very easy to run quick in, to be honest. You just, some of these shoes, you put them on and they're just like, you're kind of grinning as soon as you get into your stride, because you're just like, they're just making you want to run fast as well. And that's part of it, you know. If the shoe fits well and feels light and feels fast, you kind of get excited about it. You're going to put in a good performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really nice one. Only worn it a couple of times. Once on the road, it was nice and dry. I mean, these shoes as well, you don't want to get them dirty, do you? So they look so fresh. So I always wear them on the treadmill first time out, just to get a feel for them as well. But yeah, that's been really nice. And a lot of the guys will be wearing that. A lot of the Brits wearing that London this week in the marathon.
Yeah, we spoke to Charlie Hulson recently. He's racing them. He says that obviously he did his last race in the Vaporflies, and he honestly thinks that they're a better shoe than the Vaporfly. I'm not sure, obviously, New Balance, obviously athlete, is biased, but he says, biased aside, he probably would choose them over the Vaporfly any day of the week.
Yeah, what is interesting on this one, can you see, you can see here, can you see out on the lateral side, so the outside edge of the shoe, it's kind of flared out a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a faster runner and you are mid to forefoot, your foot will always strike on the lateral side of the heel, midfoot or forefoot. So you're always going to come down on the outside edge. So for the real fast guys, that kind of flare does accommodate that impact much more naturally and rolls your foot in very smoothly. Whereas that's something that's not going to happen. If you look at Alpha Fly, you're kind of landing on a sharp edge almost, so you'll get a real flick in. So with the Alpha Fly, you'd have to be rolling through from the heel. If you are midfoot to forefoot, the New Balance is going to accommodate that, because it's going to catch you here and it's going to roll you in smoothly, so it will feel a little bit different.
So it seems like almost like a more comfortable ride, and also seems like it seems less bulky than obviously the Nikes. So I'm interested to see how it would compare over a 5 and 10K.
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, you did a 5K yesterday. No, when I did I ran a 5K and a 10K in the last month, and what has been interesting is that the most popular shoe at those two races was probably the Next Percent and not the Alpha Fly. Now, you could pretty much bet that most of the people that bought Next Percent did buy Alpha Fly as well. But when you have the two, it is the Alpha Fly that feels lighter. It is lighter, but it feels almost faster. So unless you are doing a marathon, then I don't think you're going to go for the Alpha Fly. Certainly 5K, 10Ks, which people are running more regularly, they seem to be sticking with the regular next percent. I think it's just a little bit closer to the grind. I think people find, the AirPods and what have you, there's a little bit more bulk, particularly in the forefoot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
we saw. Sorry, go on.
Well, I did I've only worn them a couple of times because I got these, probably April time.
Yeah.
When they were launched, kind of pre-London, when we did think there might be a possibility of that happening. Running them a 5K just in training, and they felt that little bit kind of bulky. And then I did a 10-mile kind of tempo run in them, and it was only then, soon as when I was going further, that they felt more at home. They felt more accommodating. So yeah, I don't think I would be wearing Alpha Flies for like 5K anytime soon, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. The Vaporfly does seem quicker, and also the other Supershoes, what sort of in the market. What shoe would you like to go on to next? 'Cause I know you've got the collection right next to you.
Well, so another one, not strictly carbon fiber, the On Cloud Boom. Now, all of the On shoes have the speed board. You see it in there. You can see it between the green and the white foam in there as well. So this is a carbon fiber infused plate. This is very much, this would be a good 5K shoe, particularly if you're more aggressive mid to forefoot striker, because it's really light. It now has On's helium foam clouds in it, so it has a nice soft feel. It's a little bit more accommodating, a very snappy feel. If you are on your forefoot, then yeah, I think that's a really nice option. The upper, almost nothing there, super light, single layer mesh again. You can almost see through it there, very, very, very thin. Nothing to it, but I think it's kind of been overlooked a bit, really, because it's not strictly carbon fiber. But yeah, it's at 5 and 10K, very good option, real snappy feel to it. Almost kind of too fast for me nowadays, to be honest. Ran a few sessions on the treadmill again.
You're more than welcome to send them me. If you feel like I'd get a better use out of them.
Yeah, we'll chat. So yeah, real nice shoes. Something, consider it, guys. 5 and 10K. If that's where you're at, then a very good option. I'd have to check on the stack height, but if you were international and worried about the stack height, it might just sneak in under there as well. It is more of an old, I keep calling them old school, but a low profile shoe. So it's not a bulky shoe. So if you like a minimalist feel, but you want that plated response, very good option. Very good option. What else should we talk about? Brooks.
Brooks, I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, because obviously we speak to the athlete special and he seems to enjoy it quite a lot. And also we were speaking to someone else, I can't remember exactly who also said they really enjoy that shoe. So I'd love to see what your opinion on it is.
So I went to the launch in Amsterdam earlier this year for the Hyperion Elite 1, or just the Hyperion Elite as it was then, and the Tempo version as well. So the Tempo had the DNA Flash midsole, which is a nitrogen infused material, and the Elite 1 had another midsole material, not this one. Now, it was very firm. And at that event, Brooks were saying it's good for 50 to 100 miles. Now, it was way better than 100 miles. I mean, I ran way more than 100 miles in that shoe with very little signs of wear. So there was no issue at all with that, but it felt really quite firm. So essentially, it felt firm like a pre-Supershoe era kind of feel to the midsole materials, It was a very firm shoe. It had a carbon plating, so it felt old school racer with a carbon plate, so really quite aggressive and kind of hard. Nothing wrong with that, but people had kind of gotten used to softer feeling shoes, particularly in the racing shoe market. And it's strange that racing shoes seem to have taken over the whole market. Everybody's just talking about lightweight racers. And the thing is, brands, certainly in the UK, they're selling out, you know, a couple of hundred pairs allocated for the UK. They sell out really quick. And the brands focus on them, and no real focus on any new trainers that have been coming out in the last year or so. So all the focus and the talk was around racing shoes. Very limited availability of them. And then when the Elite One came, everybody thought it was a little bit firm. You've also got to remember when we go to, when I get invited along to a lot of shoe launches, a lot of people there are what we call influencers now, and they're not necessarily the people who really would ever wear an elite level competition shoe. So it's, you know, I mean, speed, I guess, one man's fast is another man's easy run.
Yep.
But, you know, would a lot of these people ever dream of buying a £200 carbon plated racing shoe for the, you know, the normal day-to-day running? Possibly not. So they, I don't know, do they really kind of appreciate, shall we say, the finer details of such a well-crafted shoe? So let's, you know, fast forward on a little bit, and we've got the Hyperion Elite 2. And now this has got a little bit more stack height. It's got the carbon fiber plate, but it's got the DNA flash nitrogen infused midsole, so a lot softer. And yeah, just really nice. I mean, it doesn't look like there's a lot of outsole on there, but it is hard wearing, and the midsole material itself as well. I mean, you can't see, but there's no wear, no signs of wear, no scuffing. They have got this in the right places, the extra bit of outsole material, so it's going to be a durable shoe as well. Lightweight upper. Kind of like a track spike fit to the upper, really nice. If you've come from a track background or you wear track spikes as well, you'll really appreciate that nice lockdown feel. Nitrogen infused, has a kind of naturally bouncy kind of ride to it. Carbon fiber plate in this one has a kind of a central spine running through it. So it's a little bit thicker. It's almost like, imagine it's 2 layers of carbon fiber. The one that runs the full width is the single bit, and then it's a little bit thicker. I think it's 1 or 2 millimeters thicker down the central section, and that gives it some lateral stability as well. The shoe is broader across the midfoot here, so that does keep it stable. And what Brooks said is they wanted a shoe that was more stable, particularly for marathons, when you kind of start to drop off 20 miles in, the form starts to go. So it's kind of keeping hold of the foot, but still giving it that feel. It's still kind of propelling you or handling the forces in the way that it's meant to. Very thin kind of single layer, this suede-like around here. I know some people were moaning about this. I found it a really nice fit. Just wear socks that come up past the shoe. You're not going to have any issues. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, very nice. And when I ran in this one, it was probably, when it came out, it was probably the nearest, I think, compared to the Nikes in terms of the overall feel of the kind of the pop of the carbon and the softness of the cushioning. New Balance much softer. This one very close to the Nike. And then that brings us on to the Endorphin Pro Saucony. Because I think this one does feel very close to the Nike. It's the Power Run midsole material it is, let's address the elephant in the room. It is a kind of a midsole material that does resemble Boost very much. Saucony's version of that. It is more stable than most of the Boost shoes that I've ever tried, and of course you've got the carbon in there as well. So only ran in these once so far, so I can't really say definitively, but really nice, really nice. A little bit slimmer here. So can you see, let me just get that angle there. So the green section at the bottom is wider, and then the black line, which I guess shows you where the carbon runs, dips through into the forefoot.
Yep.
So it kind of narrows in a little bit. So again, no issue when you're shifting along, but the foot, it's a very slim fit. New Balance is, I mean, when you look at the New Balance, also really narrow, even slimmer, in fact.
Well, yeah,
is that one?
Comparing this to the Speed, if you can see, that is quite a much wider fit around here, and it obviously has this as well, this little heel support thing, if you want to call it that, which seems to just add weight, really. It doesn't seem like it does anything other than just add weight. So I'm intrigued. Does the Pro feel back heavy? Because this shoe really feels heel heavy.
No, feels very well balanced. Very well balanced. Yeah.
Because that's something I noticed with the Pro. It just with the Speed, it seems like all of the weight is here, and it almost feels as if the drop is too much.
The midsole material in that one is a little bit denser, isn't it? So because of I think the stack height might be a little bit more in that. Is it 8 mil in that one in the Speed? I'm not sure.
I couldn't tell you. It is quite a high stack, to be fair.
Well, the drop might be a little bit more in that. I'm not sure, but that may be what you feel in there. I've not tried that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of exciting shoes about at the moment. If you can get a pair, you know, they all seem to sell out very quickly. But surely everybody that wants a pair's got a pair now. So when they all come back in, I know the Sauconys are going to be back in stock and on sale in the UK in the next couple of weeks. So that's good news for that one. And yeah, everybody that got a pair first time round is raving about it. Like I said, I need to do a few more runs. I only got them last week, like along with a New Balance, like 2 days before I was going to do the 10K. So I really wanted to race in either of those, but I didn't get a chance to do any strides or short session in them, so that I could race in them.
So obviously we've touched on all the shoes now, and probably the hardest thing to do from a perspective, because obviously everything is personal perspective. If we had to put these into 3 different categories, where we've got a training shoe, obviously I know that most of them, bar one, aren't designed for training. But if we say a training shoe for sort of your fast workouts, tempo workouts, a 5 to 10K shoe, and also a half marathon to marathon shoe, would you be able to rank them in order?
Right. So what am I gonna think? I mean, so for marathon, I think personally, I would probably go the Nike Next Percent or Alpha Fly. I think I'd probably want to lean towards Alpha Fly, and if I was aiming for marathon specifically and doing a lot of longer runs, could get a few of the longer runs in that shoe. So I think if you got plenty of miles in it, you'd get settled down into that shoe. So that would be that. Half marathon, I think, gosh, what am I going to go with here? Starting at the other end, 5K, I'd go Cloud Boom, because it just, I think for pure speed, faster, aggressive kind of running, then it's light, minimalist. You feel like you're powering through the ground kind of thing. You know, you got a good push off, and I think if you're that kind of runner, then you would go for that one at 5K. We've got the tempo. You're doing your tempo running that, so you know where you are with that. Simple as, not a racer, not for easy running, tempo runs. So we've got 10K and half marathon. You know what? They're very close. I think, where am I going to put them? You know what? I think it depends on fitness as well and the speed at which you're running, you
Yep.
know. But I'm going to do this as if I was running at my best, right? So we'll go rewind 20 years. So I'm running like 29 and a half, 10K. What am I going to wear? I think if that was the case, I'd go the books. Yeah, if I'm running that kind of speed. I think then if I'm going, I'm not sure. Really close, these two. Really close for half marathon. I don't know. I guess I'd look at the course, really. Wet day, and slippy on the road. I'd probably go with that because I've just liked that outsole. Dry day, probably go Saucony.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe flatter course, I might go New Balance as well if it was flatter, and hillier on that one, purely because New Balance is very, very soft. So if there was a lot of hills and you're coming down, personally, I would find it a little bit unstable. Whereas I think there's just a touch more stability in the Saucony, but very close. So there's half marathon, 10K, 5K, the Cloud Boom, marathon, the Nike.
And finally, this is probably quite a pointless question because, like we just said, we established that every shoe has its different like best feature and what it's best for. But if you had to take everything combined into one, what would rank first out of all the shoes we've covered? Just for everything. I know that's kind of counterintuitive and it wouldn't really matter, but just for the sake of the video, really.
Well, the thing is, you know what? A lot of people have gone Nike, but durability-wise, it's not cutting it. You can see that. So we're not having it. I'm sorry, it's not good enough, especially at 240 quid. That is a nightmare. So durability needs to get sorted on that. So we just can't have it. We can't have it. Because we've got to be price conscious as well because we're buying one shoe to do everything. The On is too light to do everything. So again, it comes down to these three: the New Balance, the Saucony, and the books. Gosh, I'm gonna go with the Saucony pure for all use. It is very specific, and probably then if it's for all round use, I've not worn it, but the speed you've got, because if you're going to do a bit of training in it as well, it's going to be a bit more balanced, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good for durability. You've got that nice soft ride. You've got the springy ride. You got your carbon fibre. You got your plate in there. So all rounder will go that one, purely because nice balance of durability and overall fit and feel.
So if you had to buy, sorry, go on.
Well, what are you going to say?
I was going to say if you had to buy one super shoe for like an all-around sort of thing, it'd be the Saucony ENDORPHIN Pro.
I think so right now. Yeah. Personally, that's probably it. But like I say, it depends what you like. If what you like, you want slightly firmer kind of feel, the books, slightly softer, the New Balance.
Yeah,
that's one sits in the middle. You know. Any questions? Fire them below, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.